Thinking of buying a home in beautiful northeastern Pennsylvania, the Lake Wallenpaupack region? Don't do it until you watch this video. Today we're going to go over the top 10 things you wish you knew before moving to northeastern Pennsylvania and the Lake Wallenpaupack region. Number 1, we have beautiful seasons here, and that is one of the things that attracts so many people because you get to experience all 4 seasons. But with those seasons comes a little extra maintenance that you should be prepared for. In the winter time, we can have quite a bit of snow in the area, and you want to make sure that you have prepared someone to clean up for you and deal with that snow removal well before the first storm. So many people are scrambling at the last minute on social media trying to find someone to come and clean up the day of or the night before, and unfortunately they are extremely busy and that can be very difficult. So make sure you secure that someone to come and deal with your snow removal. Also, we have gorgeous foliage in the fall, and that is one of the things that people come to our area to see and to photograph. But if you purchase a home with lots of trees around, be prepared that you will have some leaves to deal with during that fall cleanup time. Number 2, a lot of our homes do require updating. So when you're searching for your next home, be prepared that some of them may be stuck in the 60s, 70s, 80s, early 90s. Many of the homes in this area were used for vacation homes, second homes, so people didn't invest quite as much money in updating the homes as maybe in other areas. So this is something that you want to be ready to deal with. You might have to do some facelifting if the actual style of the home doesn't fit your needs. Also, you have to be careful of some maintenance issues. Sometimes maintenance has been let go, and this is something that we want to look for and definitely pay attention to when you get that inspection report to make sure that there's nothing really big that should concern you with the current maintenance of the home. Number 3 on our list again is something that people love when they move to the area, but there are some things that you definitely have to watch out for, and that is our wildlife. So we do have bear, deer, skunks, porcupine, lots of great animals that are gorgeous, but there are some things you have to be cautious of. Overall, our wildlife does not pose any real threat to anyone, but there are some nuisance issues that we have to be cautious of. In the fall, when the bear are starting to get ready to lay down for the winter, which they do not go into a full hibernation, but they definitely lay low for the winter, they are into the garbage, and they will learn very quickly what day is garbage day, and they will make sure that they hit you up and get into your garbage and pull the bags all over the place. So you want to watch that you're putting that away and not leaving it out there. Also, the raccoon are good for getting in the garbage as well. So be cautious of that. And as far as the deer, you have to be cautious when they are getting into their mating season, which we call the rut, because they are running wild, and this is a time when you will see a lot of deer unfortunately get hit by cars because they are running into the road. So you have to really watch when you are driving and be careful as to watching the wildlife around you and make sure that you're not allowing one of those to dart in front of you and hurt the deer and hurt your vehicle. If you have pets, you want to watch for the skunks and the porcupines. Animals, particularly dogs, can really be interested in these animals, and it does not end well for the dog most of the time. The skunks, unfortunately, can make it a pretty nasty mess that you have to deal with, and a porcupine can be extremely painful for dogs. So make sure you're not leaving out any garbage or things that would attract these animals to your area, and then you shouldn't have too much of an issue. And of course, keep your dog contained so that they're not out running and easily can get into an altercation with either of these animals. Some people do question if they should be concerned about bear and the safety of people. Honestly, for the most part, bears really do not bother people in this area. You do want to watch that you're not getting between a mama bear and its baby. That's the only thing. But overall, you're lucky if you see a bear every few years. So there's something that are very cool to see. We have lots of them here, but they move around a lot and they get pretty smart as to where humans are, and they just want to fill their bellies and not really do much more. So they're not really going to bother you. Number 4 on our list, septic systems. Many people who move to this area have only dealt with public sewers or central sewer systems. Septic systems are very common because we are so rural here. here, and there are some concerns or some things that you should just be watchful of. Nothing should go in the toilet except for regular old toilet paper, not paper towels, not disposable. They call them disposable wipes. They are not really disposable. They can really do harm to your septic system, burn out the septic pump, which can get quite expensive to repair. The other thing you want to watch is that you are not dumping any kind of chemicals, particularly bleaches, into your drains at a large quantity. And the reason for this is because think of your septic system sort of like a good working gut, you know, and you need those probiotics in there to do their job. And if you start introducing chemicals that will kill that good bacteria, the septic system will no longer do its job anymore. So these are just some things that you have to be conscientious of. Definitely get a septic inspection to make sure that your septic is currently working when you purchase the home, because that can be an extremely expensive fix if it's not working correctly. Number 5, let's talk about heating your house in the winter. So there's a lot of things that go into this. One is the age of your home. What's the construction? Was it 2x4 construction or an upgraded 2x6 construction? Of course, the better the construction, the more insulation, and the better your home will hold the heat. Same thing goes for the quality of windows. So those are a couple of things that we have to watch for. Predominantly, we have propane, we have oil, and we have electric heat. Of course, there are other types of heating, but those are the most common. Electric currently is the most expensive to run and the cheapest to install, but it does have its benefits in the fact that not really much goes wrong with it. And as long as the power is going, you know that pretty much you have heat in your house. Usually as well with electric, each room has its own zone. So if there's a room you're not using, you can turn it down really low and save some money there. And then we have oil, which probably is the next as far as efficiency goes. So electric is the least efficient, then oil, and then propane. So these are all different things that you want to consider when purchasing a home, because electric heat can get extremely expensive, and you want to make sure that you are prepared for that as part of your winter bills in our area. Number 6, air conditioning. Many or most of our homes, for whatever reason, do not have air conditioning. Overall, we only have a handful of days where you really wish you had air conditioning, but many of the houses do not have that. So you have to be prepared when you're purchasing a home, and air conditioning might be very important to you, that you might have to put one of those systems in yourself. We are starting to see more split unit systems put in because they kind of are a little bit easier to do after the fact, and that is helping that we are seeing more air conditioning, but we are definitely not an area where we see a lot of central air conditioning that was built in the home when it was originally built. So if air conditioning is important to you, you might have to figure out another option of maybe putting it in after the fact, because if not, your home search will be greatly reduced. Number 7, get ready to drive. We don't have many things just around the corner. So if you want to do any large shopping beyond our mom and pop stores and our local grocery stores, you are probably going to have to get in the car and travel just a little bit. Many of us do head over to Dixon City, Scranton area for larger shopping. And if you're closer to the Honesdale area, you can hit up Walmart and Home Depot over there. But definitely Scranton and Dixon City have more options for you. So you will get used to having to drive a little bit more for some of those things. If you have kids in school, depending on where you live in the school district, it can be 25 minutes to 30 minutes just to get to the school for different events that we have. If they have a friend at one end of the district and you live at the other end of the district, it can be 50 minutes to drive to a friend's house. We do get used to it, and I will tell you, this is one of the things that is great about this area because it is rural. We have so much wildlife, so much beauty that we get to take advantage of. But then the flip side is you might have to travel just a little bit further because we do have all of those things. Number 8, homeowners associations, property owners associations, and road maintenance agreements. Many of our homes are located in these types of associations, and they go all the way from very strict rules with maybe gates and guards at the gates or people that you have to get through and you have to call in your company, all the way down to where they just have a road maintenance agreement in place where you might spend just a few $100s a year, so that way you are secured that someone will come and take care of the road in the winter and that you have some money to fill in potholes and such like that. With the HOAs, you do get some amenities oftentimes in these communities, which people do really like, whether that be access to Lake Wallenpaupack, swimming pools, golf courses, small ski hills, restaurants, different things like that. But there's something that you have to look at and see if it's right for you to purchase in an HOA or POA, Homeowners Association, Property Owners Association, or not. Number 8, it is quiet and it is dark. Sometimes people move from more populated areas and this really kind of gets them. They didn't realize how dark it would be and how quiet it would be. Oftentimes it's a very strange transition, but I promise you, once you get used to how dark it is and how quiet it is, you're gonna love it just like the rest of us. There is nothing more beautiful than sitting outside and staring up at the sky with almost zero light pollution and seeing all of the beautiful stars and planets. Number 10, wanna go out and eat? That's fine, but there's only a handful of restaurants in our area to really go to and enjoy a meal out. So eating out can get a little bit repetitive, and if it's a weekend or a holiday, you definitely wanna call and make reservations because there are so few restaurants, they oftentimes are hard to get seated at. Again, you can also take advantage of when you're going shopping at some of the larger stores in Scranton and Dixon City to expand your restaurant options. But these are 10 things that everyone should know about our area. And I also have a bonus tip everyone needs to know before they move to our area. I highly recommend that you get a vehicle with all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, just because in the winter time, it can be a little bit difficult to get around with just a front-wheel drive vehicle. Some will even tell you to get really good studded snow tires as well. This really depends on your driving, where you're going, and your needs. But that's one tip that I will say is really important to make the winter much easier for you. Also, hobbies in the winter. Winter days are pretty short and chilly outside, so if you can get some sort of hobby or something to do in the winter, it makes the winters much more enjoyable. Skiing is always a great option. If you have children, there's great opportunities at our schools to join sports and different clubs after school that will make the winters much more enjoyable, along with seeing our beautiful snow and enjoying all the things that come along with that. So these are 10 things for you to know before you move to the Lake Wallenpaupack region.